What is up, Sixers Nation? Happy Friday, everybody. We're back today with another episode, another part of the report card, going through Sixers here. If you missed our last report card, part one, go check that one out. We went through the big three, Maxey, PG, and Bede. Also did Caleb Martin and Jared McCain in that one. That was a few weeks ago. I want to do part two here, go through a few more players. We'll go through KJ Martin, we'll go through Oubre, we'll do Yabu, and we'll do Lowry too. And we'll have another part coming out soon that'll go through like Drummond, Reggie Jackson, some other players that have contributed this season for the Sixers. But before we hop into this one, just make sure you hit that subscribe button below. And, we do a bunch of live games. We are giving away $25 for every 100 subs, currently around 150. So in about 50 subs, we'll give away another $25 until we hit 1,000. So if you're one of our subs here before 200, you get 8 or 9 different chances there at $25 doing other giveaways too. But let's hop right into this one. We're going to start with KJ Martin for the first one here. Fortunately, out right now with an injury, so he's missed the last few games. Last game coming December 23rd for that. But he's putting up 6.4 points per game, 3 rebounds per game. And probably the best stat that he has right now is he is shooting 61% from the field, which is kind of crazy considering that's usually something you only see from a big guy.
Yep.
But he's played well. Been a high flyer for them. One of the few really athletic guards, forwards, Sixers players on the team so far this season. He can, grab the oop. He's been able to show that he can shoot the ball. He can spread the floor, play really good defense too, move his feet well. So I'm giving him a B+ on the season. I would say he has been one of the few guys on the team that has, outperformed his expectations coming into it. Not saying there was a whole lot of expectations, right? He's averaging 6.4, right? Let's not blow it out of proportions, but he's one of the few that has outperformed. They did give him a decent contract, a tradable contract, which could certainly come into play closer to the deadline, which is only in about a month. So I would not be surprised if KJ Martin is dealt around the deadline. But he's given good play. So not only has he, performed well for the Sixers, but he's increased his value to potentially, get some more back in a potential trade. So I give him a B+ there.
I'm not too far down. As you guys can see on the screen here, I give him a B, slightly lower. The main knock on KJ Martin, that's kind of been his whole career, is the shooting, which he has, like we saw with the stats going back to it, 61%. He has improved this season.
38.1% from three. Not on a lot of high volume, but that's still above average 3-point shot.
Right, and that's my main knock on him is the reason that he's at a B. But he has exceeded expectations from, I think, what most Sixers fans thought of him, especially coming off last season where it was a smaller sample size. He didn't get to play a ton. We saw him. The team was banged up early this year. He had an elevated role and get more minutes, and of course now he's out, unfortunately. But he was playing well right up until his injury. And that's the reason for the B there. But KJ Martin, like we said, he might not be on the team come playoff time. But as of now, I like what he brings to the team. He's an unselfish player. He gets the job done. The nice part with him, exactly, he knows his role. And he is low maintenance. I mean, he's not one of those star players that demands the ball or has a game where, he needs the ball to create. No, he can play off the ball, and he's a drive-in, and he's an athletic guy, probably the most athletic guy. It's either him or Oubre in terms of wings on the team there. So it's great to have it. It's always hard to find wings, and especially decent quality ones there at a fair price point. So KJ Martin has brought, I thought, a solid overall play this season.
Yeah. Speaking of Kelly Oubre, we're going to go next to him, another high flyer alongside KJ Martin, putting up decent stats, 12.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds. One of the duds, stats-wise from him, only shooting 28.7% from three, from deep, which actually ties his lowest for his career, right? I mean, a lot more play to a lot more games and minutes to be had, shots to be had for him, so that could certainly go up there. But overall, not shooting very well. You'd like that to get like 33, 34. They're not counting on him to be a shooter, right? Like, we're not asking him to shoot 38% or anything like that. That's not his role. But would like to see that get a little better. His shot selection has been a little bit off, which is why I give him like a B-. Certainly not one of the worst grades I'm giving in this video or will be giving for that. So it's a respectable grade. Like I always do see his average. He's playing, above average, right? Like, we know what he can do.
Yeah.
He's getting paid, decently well, nothing crazy, pretty, good contract for the Sixers there. But shot selection's been a little bit wrong. I know you've mentioned before, like, he drives in a little bit too much, thinks he's Giannis.
Right. Right. I've said it plenty of times. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think, and it's not just for him, like, a lot of guys on the Sixers could certainly play better. but he has picked it up as of late. Before he got injured, unfortunately,
Yeah.
like because he's missing games right now. He was one of like the hottest Sixers on the team. So
well, he always is, man. He always wants.
You're not wrong. So if you asked me like 2 weeks ago, I probably would have been like C, but he's improved his game, so I put that up to a D minus. And hey, we're still like before even midway point of the season. That could certainly get better as season goes on. So nothing like too bad to write home about.
Right. Yeah. And I was slightly higher on him, and part of the reason is, and I mentioned it before, and you said it as well, with the whole, hey, he acts like he's Giannis sometimes driving in. The one thing I do like about his game is that he is decisive. With Oubre, you either know he's shooting right away, he's going to drive in. It's better to be decisive and at least know what exactly that you're going to do versus, kind of just dribbling around with the ball, confused, especially for a guy that is in, of course, his role, which is one of the wings, one of the role players. He's not a superstar on the team where it's like, hey, go ISO for Kelly Oubre. That's typically not the game plan. But if he gets the ball, he drives in, and he does get fouled at a pretty high clip, which is nice there. And he can knock down the free throws at a decent percentage. But yeah, 12.8 points per game. You'd love to see the shooting go up. I think part of the reason the shooting is down is because Oubre feeds off of, hey, if Embiid's in the paint getting doubled, it's a kick out for an open three, and you're seeing it across the board. It's harder to get open shots this season because we've had inconsistent lineups and injuries and so on and so forth. But for Kelly Oubre, I thought he's had a solid start here overall. That's why I kind of give him a B+. And I'm projecting, of course, I think he'll get better as the season gets deeper into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Speaking of people getting better as the season progresses, someone that I don't think is getting any better. Each game seems like even worse than the previous one. A guy by the name Kyle Lowry, also known as Coach Lowry, Mr. Nick Nurse's left pocket. He's averaging 4.1 points per game, 2.7 assists. Didn't even have the rebounds in there because I don't even think it was one. And then the biggest thing for him is just the poor shooting, right? 34.1% from the field, 32.8% from deep. This is a guy who, started the season as one of the starters, one of the core guys, got a lot more minutes than Jared McCain, and had a pretty hot first like few games.
Yeah.
Was one of the best shooters on the Sixers, shooting over 40%, and has absolutely fallen off a cliff since then. His last few games, he doesn't have a single bucket. His last 3 games doesn't have a single bucket. He had 2 free throws last night in the game against Golden State, but nothing working well for him. He's not shooting the ball well. He's not playmaking nearly as good as he used to. Huge liability on defense. I mean, this is a guy who just watched the Golden State game from last night, and that just sums up his defense. I mean, just getting absolutely blown by, can't get out to the perimeter to put a hand up. There's really not much you could put there, and that's why I gave him an F-. I wish I could give him a lower grade, like an X, Y, or Z. That don't exist. So gave him an F-. I know you gave him a D-, so a little bit more lenient.
I was thinking of a Z-, but I went D.
What made him get a D instead of an F? I mean, is there just hope there?
There's just hope. I mean, maybe he's in a slump. Maybe it's old age. It's probably both. He's in a slump, and he's also prehistoric. I mean, he's 38 years old. Like you said with Coach Lowry, though, I think the one thing that you can lean on, and we haven't seen it recently, and this has been a really bad couple of weeks of basketball, I guess you could say, not even games, for Lowry. But the IQ is typically it's there. But the one thing he is good at on defense is taking charges, being in the right place at the right time, or at least he was. We haven't seen that a ton this year.
The feet as well, so it's
right. He's definitely slower, and his athleticism has gone drastically down. But Kyle Lowry, the one thing you look for is IQ, and he hasn't totally brought that. I'm sure he brings it off the court in the leadership in the locker room. I don't doubt that. I'm sure he's a great locker room guy, which is something that they said about Tobias for years, except he was making quadruple the money. Crumble cookie, the whole thing. But no, I mean, with Lowry, hopefully he can bounce back from it. I don't know. It just looks like at this point in his career, he's kind of washed, which no one's shocked, though. At the same time, we're shocked because of the season that he's coming off of. But let's be honest, at 38 years old, not getting any younger, it's hard to maintain that. It just is that level of play. Even to be a decent role player, people, there's guys that enter the league are young. They're 22 years old, 21. They come in here with fresh legs. And Lowry's a guard. I mean, there's some fast dudes out there that he's expected to cover, and he just can't. So it's a tough matchup there. But Kyle Lowry, man, he's unfortunately past his prime. Philly guy, you got to love him, but it's just tough.
Yeah. And whether you like it or not, he's going to be seeing minutes,
right?
At least for the next few weeks. I mean, KJ Martin coming back will be big. He'll cut in some of those minutes there. But Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry, some of these older guards, are going to have to receive minutes because Jared McCain out indefinitely, probably the whole entire season. He's a guy that was averaging 20, 25 minutes a game and playing very well as a guard. They just don't have a whole lot of depth there. So I mean, we could certainly do another video in the future about like, because the trade deadline's not very far away and buyout guys and all that kind of stuff will certainly be creeping up as we progress into the season. But that's certainly one of the positions they're looking for, a guy that can play make, stretch forward, you name it. We could certainly do another video on that too.
Yeah.
But for right now, like, whether you like it or not, which I'm not one of those people, you're going to see Kyle Lowry for some games here. You hope they at least Nick Nurse doesn't start him. I mean, he started last night in Golden State. Like, he should at the very least be coming off the bench. Like, he should not be starting in any way, shape, or form. I'd rather Reggie or, I don't know, go a little bit bigger, right? I mean, Kelly Oubre also missing games hurts. Maybe Kelly Oubre would probably just be in there, have a little bit bigger of a lineup. But it's unfortunate.
Short-handed, man. Short-handed.
But the last guy on our list for at least this part 2 is Yabu playing amazing, 9.8 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and actually leading the team in three-point percentage, which is kind of crazy. 39.5% from three. I mean, just, hey, I can't understate how much of a need he has filled for the Sixers. This is a guy that, basically he got ran out of the league and had an amazing, Olympics, played super well, and the Sixers took a chance on him, gave him the minimum, and, wasn't supposed to get very minutes, right? Drummond, they signed Drummond to a deal, 2-year deal there, got decent money, and between Drummond's injuries and struggles and Embiid's injuries, like, he's had to start some games, he's come off the bench, gotten meaningful minutes, and has played well, whether it's him out there as a center or him out there with Embiid. Like, he's fit well in both, right? Like, he's shooting 39.5% from three. So they've been able to put him out there with Embiid, spread the floor. And I mentioned in previous videos, having him out there with Embiid is huge because Embiid really can't jump like he used to, can't get rebounds like he used to, be physical like he used to. And Yabusele adds that. He's quick out there, so he can set the pick well, pick and roll, pick and pop, whatever it may be. He can finish well at the rim. One of the few guys that the last few games have been able to finish well around the rim. So that's why I gave him an A. Can't give him an A+ just because, like, as good as he's been, like, you're averaging 9.8 points per game. In my opinion, like, to get an A+, like, you have to be like, just like, not saying you have to be the most improved player, but like, if we were doing this last year and we were talking about Maxey, like, he's getting an A++, right? Like, that huge jump that he took for that. But I really cannot be mad at anything Yabusele's done, and hope that they bring him back for in future years. Give him a nice contract there.
Only reason I have him at an A+ is not, of course, he's been fantastic this season. The value that we have him at a minimum, essentially, and what he's done. It's very rare that you see a guy not only be able to shoot a team percentage, 39, almost 40% from three, which is an elite shooter in the NBA by all standards, but also do the dirty work, right? Get rebounds, go back up for easy layup, second chance points, deflect pass, whatever it may be. He is out there totally grinding and just absolutely killing it on all ends. And just for him to be able to be an elite shooter, which no one really expected. We thought he could space the floor a little bit. I thought he'd have some mid-range to him. For him to be the shooter that he is, has been fantastic. It's been a revelation for the Sixers, and they've needed every little bit of him. He has won us some games here. Like, we would not be, whatever our record is, not saying it's great, but he's won us games. He's won us games, man.
Think about if Yabu was not on the team. I mean,
oh my God,
you're looking at some big bonus minutes, which he's not ready for.
Right.
Certainly can get there, but he's not ready right now because, again, Drummond's missed games. He's played very badly when he's in games. And then, everyone knows Embiid's missed like most of the season. So if Yabusele was on the team, I'm not saying they wouldn't have signed someone else, but like the Sixers would definitely be in trouble a lot more if Yabusele was not in a Sixers uniform.
I mean, we've really seen him do a little bit of everything. I mean, he can post up, which we've seen him in the post because, yes, he's not the tallest dude, but he certainly has the size in there. And if there's a guy that's the same height as him, he typically has the weight and strength advantage there, so he can post up and get his own bucket. He has a soft touch around the rim. We've seen him shoot the mid-range. We've seen him shoot the three. He can dribble a little bit. He's not like going to handle, cross you over, but he has a little bit of handle, and he can dunk on people. We've seen he's had a couple posters. He's had the LeBron in the Olympics. He had one recently, which has been great to see. So just overall, you can't say enough good things about Yabusele. Kate Scott calls him the dancing bear, which honestly, it's pretty spot on. He's out there like a dancing bear, man. He's a big dude, but he is absolutely dominating. And shout out to Yabu for honestly winning us some games, keeping us in there.
Absolutely. Let's get to round out our part 2 report card. We'll have a part 3 where we'll go through, the final players, Eric Gordon, Reggie, and Drummond, and a few other guys too that have played minutes for the Sixers so far. again, hit that subscribe button below. Appreciate you all for watching. We'll go live soon in the next few days for one of the games. Shout out to everyone that's hopped into our live so far. I actually went live last night during the Sixers and Warriors game. Had the most people hop in for that, most views and listens in for that game. So really do appreciate that.
Even in a blowout.
Yeah. And again, giving away $25 for every 100 subscribers. It's free to subscribe. You also, if you want to, we have a private group chat we just started for all of our YouTube subscribers. And that's been a blast. We have over 50 people in that so far. We just started that less than a day ago.
Yeah.
So that's been an absolute blast. But hey, let's get a few free wins here. They play tomorrow in Brooklyn, team that's tanking right now. So they should be able to get that win, and then they head back home after this road trip to hopefully pick up some wins and get back to 500 ball, and hopefully playoff contention there. So
yeah,
awesome. Well, bye everybody. Everybody, good weekend, and go Sixers, baby.
Go Sixers, man.